it's Rhianna. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be like half story time, half Q&A. I'm going to talk about my life as a process server, so stay tuned. So before I start off the video, I do just want to tell all the new people who may not be aware, I work as a process server. I am technically self-employed, and it is part of one of the many ways that I bring in income into our home. So I do YouTube. Obviously, I've been doing YouTube since August of 18, 17, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, I've been doing YouTube since August of 2016, and I started doing subpoenas in like March of 2017. So I actually just passed my 2-year anniversary doing subpoenas. Basically, since I have started doing this job, I have gotten questions and requests on like I should do a subpoena video, I should talk about it. You've asked me questions about it, and I'm finally getting around to actually filming the video. I tried to film this video last week and it felt like I just rambled for 20 minutes, and so I decided to ask y'all what y'all wanted to know. So I'm going to answer your questions, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what exactly it means to be a process server. So a process server is a person who like serves subpoenas, basically. If you've seen Pineapple Express, what Seth Rogen's character is, he's a process server. But my job isn't, I've never seen a murder, it's nothing like that. So how I got the job was a friend of mine named Troy. He's actually someone that I met before I met Jonathan, but we never dated. He does process serving, and he had told me about it, and he had explained the process to me a couple times, like over the course of our friendship. And then one day I had mentioned something along the lines of like, when are you gonna hire me? Because I needed some extra money. And he was like, I've been trying to hire you forever. And I was like, oh, well, I didn't know you were serious. So shortly after that, he sent me my first subpoena. Basically how I get them is through email from him, and how he gets them is from an email from a lawyer. So in the state of Texas, if you get pulled over for DUI/DWI, which is driving while intoxicated or driving under the influence, you lose your license and you have to go to an administrative hearing to get it back. So you hire a lawyer to represent you. That lawyer has to get a process server to subpoena the police officer to appear in court, basically. So it's just an administrative hearing. It's kind of like when you go to court for a speeding ticket or something like that. It's nothing like crazy. I'm not like tracking down people like civilians or whatever. I only serve police officers, and like 9 times out of 10 I am serving them at the station during their shift. And so it's just a matter of me getting a hold of them and them meeting me at the station. So how I do that is, once I receive the subpoena, I check and see. I actually now work for Troy. He's the original one, and I did so well that he kind of referred me to 2 other people who also are in the business. I'm not sure if they are also process servers like Troy, or if, I think one might be an actual lawyer or works with the law firm. But either way, like I work for Troy, Keith, and Danny. And so basically they'll send me a subpoena. And the first thing that I do after I print it out is I will check and see. I started keeping track of all my subpoenas, I think, in 2018. So I will check my database and see if it's someone that I've served before. And if it is, I'll see like where I served them and like the date and all that kind of stuff, and check and see if I might have their cell phone number. If I do have their contact information, I just reach out to them myself and just let them know, hey, it's Rhianna, the process server. I'm gonna meet you at the station, you know, on Wednesday or whatever. And then if I don't have their contact information, I will contact dispatch and leave them a message and let them know. So if I've served them before, I just go and reserve them again where I knew them from last time. If they're new, I contact dispatch, I leave a message, and I wait for them to call me back. I will usually do that like maybe 5 times, you know, 5 to 10 times. Dispatch is usually 9 times out of 10 very nice, very helpful. They take my message and they can usually answer questions for me. If I eventually don't get a hold of them, I will have to find out, like, can you tell me their days off, what station they're out of, that kind of stuff. It is a little bit nerve-wracking to have to like talk on the phone to people, especially whenever it kind of feels demanding, even though I'm just doing my job, they're just doing their job. So sometimes it can be like a little intimidating. I have to sometimes escalate them. Like if they're not returning my call and I go to the station and I can't like track them down, I will have to like escalate it up to a sergeant or something like that. And that can be a little bit stressful. I've actually even had to take it all the way up to a captain before. But it gets the job done, because as soon as they see that you aren't going away, they somehow magically start getting all of your messages and call you back. So that's kind of the basic overview of what I do. Now I'm gonna answer your questions. I feel like some of these questions might have already been answered because of like what I just explained to you, but I will go ahead and try to like just answer all the questions. So the first 2 questions are, do you ever have to call 911 and do you have to try and find the people? I feel like I've already answered that. It's police officers and I work through dispatch, so it's not like I'm having to like hunt people down normally. And then the last question from this person was, anyone offer you money to not serve them? No, it's against the law for police officers to, well, I think it's against the law in general to try to do that and or try to dodge subpoenas. Like you can't do that if you're being served. And honestly, you don't even have to sign. If I see you, you've been served. So luckily, most of the time they just sign. It's not a big deal. I have had 1 or 2 that have like crumpled it up and like, I mean, it's whatever. I mean, it sucks, but it's not that you didn't hurt my feelings. I'm still getting paid. Jessica wants to know, why do you serve them mostly at night? So the reason why most of my subpoenas are at night is because it's for DUIs/DWIs, which are usually happening overnight. So it's gonna be the police officers who work the night shift. Issa Blue asked 2 questions. She wants to know, do you only serve subpoenas to cops? And how do you find the people? So yes, I only serve subpoenas to cops. I would never serve the general public. Like, there's no way I would ever do that. I don't even want to serve the police officers outside of the station normally, unless it's like a rare circumstance. And then as far as tracking them down, I've explained that process. Little Dog Ernie, which is Jen, asked, are there lots of hot cops? Yes. Yes, there are. And then Jenny B asked, how did you get started in serving subpoenas? So I did kind of answer that one. I will say that whenever Troy like hired me, he just emailed me a subpoena and was like, he didn't give me any direction. He just wanted to see like trial by fire. Like, how would I do? Would I like be smart enough to figure it out? And I did. And he was like super impressed that I was able to like do it without having to ask a million questions and like literally be like my hand held and walk through the process. So Fit Girl Sarah Pants asked a couple questions. How did you get into the business? Which we've already covered. Do you enjoy it? I love it. Like 99% of the time, hands down, like best job ever. I get paid per signature. So there are times whenever I have like, you know, 7 and I just made $350 in like 2 minutes. I mean, minus the drive there and back. But it's like an amazing job and it's relatively easy without, you know, having to deal with the jerks that I occasionally have to deal with. She also says, do you ever wear a disguise? I don't have to do that because, you know, I'm working with the police, and most of them honestly have gotten to recognize either me or my car, and so they're usually pretty friendly and helpful. And the last one she asked was, do I have any crazy stories? Yes, I have a couple. So both of them involve officers who have been a little bit too friendly, if you can only imagine. One of them proceeded to give me a compliment about my feet, which was odd and very uncomfortable. Just recently, I actually had another experience where a very nice officer was trying to ask me out for drinks, and I explained to him that I was married, and he was like, so? And so I had to politely decline. But most of the time they're very professional and, you know, nothing like that. Those are like my craziest stories. And I believe I compiled all of the questions, and this is the last question that I could find. I hope I didn't miss any. But the last question that I could find was Swirly Sunburst wants to know, is it dangerous and are you ever scared? I would say that there's always a potential for it to be dangerous. I am pretty careful about like not ambushing them. I will say that because I am a white female, that it does make my job easier because they don't feel threatened by me. And that's just the way that it is. I'm not saying if it's right or wrong, but it just is. If the circumstances were different, I don't think that it would be as easy as a job for some people. And am I ever scared? The scariest thing for me is whenever I have to like be like, I need to speak to a sergeant on duty because this guy is giving me the runaround. Like, I feel like that's the scariest part. But like, just having like nervousness from that, but not actual, like, I don't ever like fear for my life or anything. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, like I said, I think that was all the questions. I had, actually, 1 second. I did forget to check one place. Okay, I did find one more question on my Instagram. Issa Blue says, how do you get the subpoenas to serve? Are they mailed to you with an address? So I did kind of talk about that. They are emailed to me. As far as like an address, like I said, I go through dispatch and get the contact information for like what station they're at and that kind of stuff. So yes, I think for sure that I've answered all of your questions. If I missed anything, leave them down below and I'll answer you in the questions. So in the comment section. I really enjoyed making this video for y'all. If you have another requested video, let me know about it and I will try to get it filmed as soon as possible. Subscribe if you haven't already. Don't forget to click the thumbs up button and I will see you guys next time. Bye. I am super happy to announce that those numbers that you just saw are the